People like to say that glacier water is the purest water on Earth. Bottled water companies love this idea. The image is always the same, a massive wall of ancient ice untouched by humans, slowly melting into a crystal clear stream. So let's take that idea literally and ask a very specific question. What would actually happen if you drank a single glass of water taken directly from a glacier?
First, we need to be clear about what glacier water even means. A glacier isn't a frozen bottle of mineral water. It's compressed snow that fell thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years ago. As snow piled up year after year, it trapped tiny pockets of ancient air, dust, volcanic ash, bacteria, and whatever else happened to be floating around in the atmosphere at the time. Over time, that snow was crushed into ice, locking all of that material inside like a very slow, very cold time capsule. Now imagine you're standing at the edge of a glacier. You chip off some ice, let it melt, and pour yourself a nice, refreshing glass. It looks perfectly clear. It smells like nothing. This is where your brain relaxes and assumes everything is fine. But clarity is not the same thing as cleanliness. The first thing you're drinking is history. That water may contain particles from volcanic eruptions that happened before modern civilization existed. It may contain dust blown from deserts that no longer exist in the same form. None of that is especially dangerous by itself, but it already ruins the idea that this water is somehow untouched. It has been touched by the entire planet.
Then there's biology. Glaciers are cold, but they are not sterile. Scientists have found bacteria, fungi, and even viruses preserved inside glacial ice. Some of these microbes have been frozen for tens of thousands of years. When you melt the ice, you are effectively thawing them out. Most of them would die quickly in your stomach, and many might be harmless. But probably harmless is not the same as safe. Your immune system has never met these organisms before. They evolved in a completely different world.
Next comes the temperature problem. Glacier meltwater is very close to freezing. Drinking a full glass of near ice-cold water all at once can shock your throat and stomach. At best, it's extremely uncomfortable. At worst, it can trigger spasms, nausea, or vomiting. People sometimes underestimate how sensitive the human body is to sudden temperature changes on the inside, not just on the skin.
There's also a chemical issue that no one puts on the label. Glaciers slowly grind rock into fine powder as they move. This creates what's known as glacial flour, microscopic mineral particles suspended in the meltwater. In small amounts, it's mostly harmless. In larger amounts, you're basically drinking very fine sand. Your teeth won't appreciate it, and your digestive system won't either.
But let's assume you only drink one glass. Not a habit, not a lifestyle, just one. Will you instantly get sick? Probably not. Millions of people drink untreated surface water and survive. The more interesting question is what you expected to happen. You probably imagine something almost magical, a sense of purity, a connection to the ancient earth, maybe even a health benefit.
And that's where the real danger is. Glacier water isn't special because it's cleaner. In many cases, it's actually riskier than treated tap water. The water coming out of your faucet has been filtered, disinfected, tested, and monitored constantly. Glacier water has none of that. It just has a very good marketing department.
There's also an irony here. The reason you can easily access glacier water at all is because glaciers are melting faster than they should. Climate change is turning these massive ice structures into temporary water sources. In other words, that pure glass of water is a byproduct of a planetary problem. You're not sipping ancient perfection. You're sipping evidence.
So if you drank a glass of water from a glacier, you'd most likely walk away with nothing more than a cold stomach and a good story. But the experience wouldn't make you healthier, wiser, or more connected to nature in any meaningful way. It would simply remind you that nature isn't designed for human comfort. It doesn't care about our ideas of purity. It just exists, cold, ancient, and indifferent, whether we drink from it or not.